he assures Nigeria of better days ahead.
Okay, still on the minimum wage, NLC issues December 1 ultimatum to governors.
And then Ipman and Dangote seals deal.
After this, we'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll introduce our guest who's already seated with us in the studio, and our guest will be having via Zoom, and then we'll delve straight to the details of the stories. Please stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Bombing and smashing the creeks, boats and all of that, like the information we have now. They've made success. Is that really a success on how to stop this thing? And what measure should be employed? Even if we go by, we have suggested over time that orientation should be carried out. Even if you carry orientations, the people doing this thing, sometimes we anchor it on those people who are on the downtrodden. But I was discussing with some persons that I discovered that it is not even the issue of the downtrodden going for oil bunkering because of poverty. There are those who are wealthy that are involved in it. If you go to the creeks and see the kind of gadgets, the structures that are laid in the creeks to see how to suck this oil from what it is in reality, this economic sabotage, you discover that even a poor man cannot be able to afford some of those gadgets. So it has to start from the top to the bottom, not just within the communities and all of that. So if we are looking at it from the angle of the poor people, they want to make ends meet. There are those who are already rich. You can even assume that even government officials. I remember when some of the local government chairmen in River State accused even the army themselves, Navy and Air Force, let me say military themselves, that they are involved in this particular disease. Because I don't see how even the smart, because even to that extent, I still see that destroying the creeks and also some of the things they are using to do all these things, it's also affecting our aquatic lives and all of that in our region. So how can we not stop it? How can we stop it? Is there any other way we can manage this particular situation? And I want to say that the only way for me, and which is not going to be possible, it's going to be utopian, to stop this oil bunkering is to show it when we see that there is no longer oil gushing out from the ground. Really? Because this will continue.
Why?
It's not going to end.
How do you think it's not going to end? With all of these measures that are being
It's not going to end. It's not going to end because those that are making money out of it, they've seen the value that is in it. It can't stop. Because the one we see along the street are just one in gallons. What are the ones that are going on vessels? The ones that are going on vessels. At the time, it was more like we are taking what belongs to us because we are being cheated. Measures were put in place vis-a-vis some of the parastatals that are put for us, like Niger Delta Ministry, that has been the defunct Niger Ministry now, and then the NDDC and all of that, to ameliorate the suffering of the people because always coming on the ground. But you discover that those institutions also hasn't solved any problem. People are still doing this.
You sound like one of those Nigerians who believe that this whole thing should be legalized.
No, not even legalizing it. The legalization of this should be that, like, people have cried out and all of that, activists and some of them have cried out that a law should be passed and so that people could also start. Like, we're talking about this issue now. In US, let me just make this in US because I'm going to come up in another topic. In US, we have over 132 refineries and all of that. 132 refineries. In Texas alone, we have 32 refineries in Texas. So if these young minds and old minds will kind of complement themselves to see how to establish some of these refineries and all of that, even coupled with state governments. In Angola, there are private refineries anchored with a community and even the state government.
We have a private refinery in Nigeria.
No, we have.
How is the government stopping private individuals from owning refineries?
No, the government. I'm not saying that government is stopping them from. I'm saying giving the waiver such that every individual, these people that are doing this thing now, they have certain things. These things are not just a primitive thing. You see the sophisticated scientific method that is used to suck this oil. These guys are not that trained, but I believe they also employ professionals who are in the oil industry.
You were talking about giving a waiver.
So when they give them this waiver now, at the time, you allow every other person to actually do this refinery thing. You know, like Dangote have come up with its own.
That's why I asked,
now people now,
government not allowing people?
They are not that they are not allowing them.
Okay, but you're saying they should allow
they
them.
should allow them.
To get that.
Give them, like federal government or state government could also empower these young minds. Like I have the idea of maybe going to steal this petroleum and all of that. These ones I will see along the mob and all of that.
Or an example.
Let me just say, like I have as an example. You understand?
Okay.
So a government could also a kind of partner with me. You understand? But no government will want to do that, to partner with an individual to actually do some of the Dangote is succeeding today because of the fact that he has already been there. But people are also going again because they see it as a capitalist method of a kind of having a monopoly of all the markets.
Okay.
You understand? So that is it. So the situation we are talking about now is that what we see today is a phenomenon and it's been there long ago.
So you're saying that it should be legalized and be allowed to be operated.
People should have
the right
to actually
work.
You understand? Register their companies,
and
come up
allowed to work with it.
With it. You understand? Because even you can see that even these oil companies that you see here, you cannot even allegedly, that the professionals are coming to install all these things. Some of them are coming from there. So if they have,
why do you think that this oil companies that they have actually coming from there? Are there proofs or researchers that have proven that they are coming from there?
Well, the researcher will see it as an assumption, but automatically a community man will not have the strength or the capacity to actually go dig ground, insulate a host from a pipeline. You understand?
Yeah.
All those gadgets. At least I've seen whenever we go investigating and going to check as a youth activist from the community. Sometimes we go to the bush, the forest to see what these young people are doing. Sometimes that's the one they discover at a Mohwa. A well. You know how many million hundreds of barrels crude oil that was inside the well. I wonder how they dug that place. Nobody even saw it. Though even if people from the community saw them. Okay. You couldn't come out to see.
In essence, you're saying that the government should recognize these places and legalize it.
They should legalize it.
And not see it as contraband.
You understand? Because now the way it is now is that we are destroying these things now. And destroying them is not a remedy to it. You're even destroying more lives.
And destroying the environment.
The environment itself.
Okay.
Because it can't stop. And people also, sometimes people die because of it. So if these people have this idea and all of that, so automatically you give a chunks of all these things and all of that so that they could not, they complement what we have already.
You know, anytime people say this thing that the government should legalize it, you know, and like she asked the question and you agreed that the government should go into these places and make it legal. I always wonder how that would be managed. Because let's go back to how they get this crude oil. They're stolen crude oil. So if you're saying the refining process and all what they are doing should be legalized, how is that going to end up affecting the crude oil theft? The level of crude oil theft that we have in Nigeria is on the high. If you check the records, you'll be alarmed. The last time I checked it, I was screaming on air, you know. So how is that going to affect crude oil theft? Isn't it going to make it be on the high side? You know, increasing the rate of crude oil theft. How is that going to even help the country's economy? It
is going to help. See, automatically you have a private station here now, and you pay tax. Do you? You pay tax, and then you also employ some persons and all of that. And we are here today talking, and you pay them their salary, and they also pay tax through their salaries and all of that. However they deduct it, I do not know. But how that is it. Now, if you bring these people to bear, and they are working for themselves, automatically. The wastages we have in the forest won't be there. The level of death, even though death is a necessary and which will come when it will come. But the way it goes, like we hear that, hey, there is explosion somewhere, there is going to be a reduction to that effect. Okay. Then the level of militarization, because these young people that are doing this, if you go to the forest, you see them carrying sophisticated weapons and all of that. Even though criminality is part of human nature, so to say, but you could reduce it to an extent vis-a-vis this kind of initiative we are talking about here now. And then there is also going to be monitoring. When you monitor a thing, you have a direction to where it will go to. You monitor these people, you understand, put them together, and still see how you can also give value to it.
Thank you for your thoughts on that one. Let's move on to the next story.
And in Bios Estate, it's a sum of 10 million naira have been alleged recovered from some offices of Zone 16 in Bios Estate. The officers were accused of extorting the said sum from NYSC members traveling to River State. The situation is particularly dire for individuals entering Bayelsa from Delta towards Mbiama, who are frequently subjected to unlawful demands for money. A disturbing incident occurred on September 17, 2024, when NYSC members traveling to River State were forced into passing 10 million naira. They were threatened, detained, and subjected to emotional stress. The officers involved used an account belonging to Ikem Alozie of Mavic Global Resources Limited for their illicit activities. No complaints against the victims, no incriminating evidence found on them. Nobody signed their bail bond. This is not policing. Following a report I filed on October 25, 2024 with the Inspector General of Police Complaint Response Unit, a successful retrieval of the extorted funds was achieved on today, November 5th, 2024. The victims have provided statements to the police, and the officers are attached to Surveillance Unit AID Zone 16 Bios Estate. If no action is taken, these officers will continue to exploit innocent victims. Mr. Suzy, Bios State is what do you call it? It's like close to River State. We share boundaries. Yes. That's what to say. So we have individuals always traveling on a daily basis. So I don't know what's going to be your thoughts on this, because these police are said to be people that are supposed to protect lives and properties. Yes. And here we see situations where they're extorting victims that go on their daily lives to sort their needs, especially the NYSC Corps. I don't know what this is going to turn out to be, but I want to get your thoughts about this, about what the police have been going on to do.
Well, over time in our history, we've had this one. I just want to, some of us that are very religious, we thank God for the NYSC people for even having the opportunity to come out alive and begin to testify their stories. Yeah. If not, they would have ended at that moment. I remember a story long ago. It was 2001 or 2002. Then I was in Lagos when we heard about the issue of Akpo 6. Have you heard about Akpo 6? Yes. Where people who are traveling to go into markets with cash were shot dead and all of that. Taking their money. You're taking their money. So this one is just, I believe that Providence, divine Providence, actually saved these young people. If not, they would have ended their life. Do you know how many people ended in this particular situation? And then if we want to also, if the police also want to do a thorough job, we should also investigate how a copper will carry 10 million naira in a vehicle. Are you getting what I'm saying? How a copper will carry 10 million naira in a vehicle in this part of...
No, what happened there was that they, according to the story, according to what they said, when this corps member wanted to make a transfer, because after they had held them there for about 30 minutes, that's the police now allegedly, when they wanted to make a transfer, they made a transfer of 15,000 naira. But then the police was with their phone, one of the policemen was with their phone and saw the alerts. You know, so he saw the balance.
That was it.
Yes, so he saw the balance and he said, so you have this kind of money.
And you're giving me
and they wanted to let them go initially. But when they saw that, they're like, okay, we're taking you. And according to what the story said, when they got there, they took pictures of them, called them internet fraudsters. And then they told them to start calling their family members. So they started calling people to send money. So that's where all of these monies came from.
Okay.
So not like they had 10 million naira in their
Well, I saw the when I saw the video, I thought it was like a packed biscuit.
They told them to start. That's money. That's Nigerian naira.
Bringing the Nigerian naira to that extent.
This is not the first time we are hearing stories like this. It's not news. We hear this over and over again, to the extent that sometimes when we see pictures of internet fraudsters online, alleged internet fraudsters, some Nigerians don't even believe that they are internet fraudsters anymore, because it could be anything. It could be a scenario like this. So how do we feel safe with the people who are supposed to be protecting us if this keeps happening over again?
It's a very sad story, and then it put us in a precarious situation where you couldn't even trust even the security person that is guarding your premises and all of that, because like Kamas will always talk about issue of material condition, who determines a man's consciousness. But you see, there are those who actually have integrity. I wouldn't want to use myself.
Police officers who have
there are police officers. Even during the NSAS protest, you see that some police officers, where people were, some other police people were murdered, some people were celebrated and all of that. So you could still see, even in that. So what do we do? Now, the Nigerian police, for some time, when they now lift the ban for a kind of recruitment of police or army and air force and all that, I pity the country. I pity the country, because the young people that, if you walk along the street, some of us that are on the street, you look at the street, I may not likely want to go back to go and start being a policeman or a soldier and all that. But you see, the young people that are growing up today, these ones that their mindset are bastardized now, still have this consciousness to actually join the force. And when they are joining this force now, you don't see what they are radiating in them, because they will play along the rules and join the force. But the intention of the man joining the force is another different thing.
And what they see.
And you understand?
The examples that they see, let's even start from there. The examples that they see.
Yes, because even if we say, the reason, some people could also argue that the reason for this is because the economy is bad and all of that. Even the place where go better to you understand? Because there are those who are benefiting from it.
So don't you think that this also calls for concern? Because in most cases, they don't want transfers. They insist on cash.
They remain at that particular place. That's some of the police people.
Yes.
Where they are. Because that, some of them, they will transfer them. They will still walk their transfer back to where they are.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean when they meet these innocent victims, alleged fraudsters, like they say, when they want to ask for money, most times they don't ask for transfers, so it will not be traced to them.
Like
they only, yes, like what just happened. They ask for cash. So and then we want to believe that these are people that are supposed to protect us, but they always give us wrong narratives about security and stuff. You know, it calls for concern.
It is not just this one. Is one you have on the news. I remember on a good day somebody met me somewhere where we were just sitting out with friends, and then the young people, they came complaining that they just met some police people around, and then they collected 500,000 naira from them, and we fumed. I was angry. I said, where are they? One of the man who is the CSO of one of the community also was like, why didn't people call me so that we'll go there and protect you people? Just of recent, 3 young people were arrested along this Rumosi axis. And before they know, they found themselves at Bayelsa. And they stayed for 2 weeks. And before that time, they even transferred, the police people transferred 400,000 naira from their account.
But that's for people, sorry to cut you. That's for people who know people to call, who have people to call.
That's what I'm saying.
Imagine you don't know anybody. You don't have anyone to actually call for situations like this.
I know someone who just came to Port Harcourt from Lagos, right? And before you knew it, just to move from this place to this point, from this point to this point, a distance of 100 naira, right? And that was it. That was the end of it. What happened? They stopped them, and they were asking for receipts of his laptop, and then they asked for his
frivolous things they will be asking for, just to indict him.
Before you knew it, how much? 50,000 naira left his account, and he's like, "I'm going back to Lagos."
And they're always on a safe haven when they see somebody they seem to, they feel to be.
But let's
like
talk about
why
this is thriving, and how we can, what measures you think can be taken to solve this problem.
Well, our problem in solving this problem is actually, in Nigeria, we are divided into ethnic lines and political lines. When you indict a man who has done wrong in Nigeria, when the news goes to the public, you remember the first question they will ask, where is it from? That is another problem we have in Nigeria. Which political party? Who is he working for? You understand? That is the way all our social stratas, that is the way we are structured. So if not, we have laws. Our criminal codes and all of that they are competent enough to prosecute somebody who has done wrong, like what the policeman had just done now, or what they are doing. If we have people who are going to be prosecuted, because the Nigerian justice system, jurisprudence and all of that, it dilly-dallies. At the time you discover that somebody, even this police officer now, you will not hear their matter any longer. Before you know it, they are back to the streets. That is what it is. So even the inspector or police or commissioners or IGs, all of them will come and read riot acts. But how far? You understand? If we see,
and does it mean that these individuals have no right to show off things they have? Because we see situations where you see young adults, youths with flashy cars, and then some of them actually do legal businesses.
Yes.
They practice legal professions, and they are not safe. They feel like, oh, if I'm on the road and the police catches me, then I'm gone. And then they want to really lay low. Does it mean that the youths are not really safe to really be themselves, to wear certain clothes, to drive certain cars? This has a call for concern. So you talked about the government implementing, putting measures and all. What if they actually put these measures and it is not taken into consideration?
Are we actually...
How are we sure that it will not continue? How are we sure that those policies are really implemented?
We are not even denying the fact that there are no policies to actually checkmate the actions and inactions of policemen. Perception, misconceptions about how we make our money. And there is this perception about the fact that every rich man in Nigeria must have stolen money from either from government or is doing one or other to shady deals. But you have noted there are genuine people doing business and they are making money at all, and they are not safe. I remember a time where I was talking to somebody. I said, even today that I am running around the community struggling, trying to put on duties together, by the time I make money, you will be put in that class of those who have stolen money from the society. You are not safe with those who don't have it at the time. You are not also safe with those who are protecting you. You understand? But is it really someone's fault to me? Why the perception? So I believe that punishment, that is the reason why the law is very important. And any law without punishment is not law.
Right. So this policemen should be punished.
There should be punishment to any wrongdoing in the society, and to what extent?
All right, Susie, thank you for your analysis. Let's move to the next story. We have reports that Inspector General Police Kayode Betokun has refuted claims circulating in the media that the Nigerian police force arrested minors during the recent #End Bad Governance protests. Betokun clarified that those detained were criminal elements engaged in arson. Now, destruction of properties, they were also engaged in that, and looting of shops and public facilities, not peaceful protesters or minors, please. The IGP further revealed that police officers caught extorting 100 foreigners, including Chinese and Malaysian nationals, who were detained for alleged cybercrime activities in Abuja, were not formally deployed for such duties. These officers have been taken into custody and would face legal consequences. That's what he stated. Speaking at the workshop on enhancing professionalism in criminal investigations that was held at the Police Resource Center in Abuja, Betokun actually expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu for directing the release of those wrongfully arrested, and he emphasized, however, that nobody, including any minor, was detained simply for protesting. We upheld their right to peaceful protest and provided security. Betokun clarified that those arrested were individuals that were caught in criminal acts, including setting public facilities on fire, looting warehouses and shops, and destroying property. Minors were not arrested for participating in protests. This narrative is being falsely propagated, and the suspects were captured on video committing these crimes, including all of the crimes that he mentioned earlier. The IGP also warned that any police officer that is found compromising investigation would face strict disciplinary measures or actions, reiterating that officers who detained minors will not be sanctioned as they acted in response to criminal activities. Susie, please comment on this story. If you have been following the hashtag End Bad Governance protest all the while, down to when we saw the minors in court, down to the fainting, and then the response that he was acting, down to them being released, down to the phones and the cash that were given to adults when we saw minors in court, and people started asking what's going on. These minors we saw didn't have beards and they were not looking this healthy. So this is where the story is now. Please, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one.
That story for me, when I had this story, for me, it sounds very comic. Comic in the sense that the minors were arrested at the end of the day, taken to court, and some of them started fainting. And at the end of the day, the government said it was a script, they were acting and all of that. If you look at the way our laws are structured, the Child Rights Acts actually define what a child is. Someone under the cares of his parents. And then the Child Rights Act is not actually adumbrated only in Nigeria. It was a United Nations Convention on the Child Rights, which Nigeria is a signatory to. So if you look at what it is in reality, the Child Rights Act 2023 of Nigeria, Section 11, subsection 1, will talk about an appraiser for a child to find himself in a recreational place.
Okay.
Now, I will ask a question. Do you know that even, before I ask the question, do you know that even the age for employment in Nigeria begins from 21 years old, according to our constitution? 21 years old. A child that is 18 years old.
That's not a child according to our constitution.
It's
That's not a child, even according to our constitution.
Now listen, I'm trying to compare two things now.
Okay.
Now, at the age of 21, now the age of voting in Nigeria is 18 years old.
Yes.
You understand? So, and the Child Rights Act will tell you that a child is somebody below the age of 21, which is from, they use 18 years old. Then 21 years old is also given priority. If you employ a child that is below 21 years old, you are committing a crime which is punishable in our law.
If you employ
If you employ,
because below 21
I want to show you.
It's no longer a child.
So to this extent now there are also places where the child which is below 18 years old could be employed according to the law of contract.
Okay.
Now, or maybe let's say where that child could be punished. And now the punishment is not actually the one we are seeing now. Like if I'm running a restaurant, say Buka on the street now, and the child comes to eat without payment, you know what I would do? I could frown on that child.
Sorry,
but
this child, at what age range do you
I'm using
refer
18.
to as a child?
I'm using 18.
Okay.
I'm using 18. 18 is actually what it says.
Okay.
But I'm trying to differentiate the age of voting in election.
Okay.
That means if you don't get the information that age of employment in an institution is 21 years old, you could think that the age of voting is the age of employment in everybody in Nigeria. Okay. You see the difference? So there is this confusion. Now, if that child eats the food, the person inside that place could also decide to, frown at that child. You understand? Or maybe ask him to wash plate and all of that. But if that child who does not have that child does not have the money, goes to a place like one of the eateries, not to mention name, that is sophisticated to eat a plate of food which is worth of 5,000, maybe 6,000 as the case may be in some places. There are disparities. Everybody don't say the same. What they will do is to actually hold that child and get across to the parents. So when you are holding the child, what are you doing? You're automatically holding that child hostage. You understand? Because our law it spills like this. By the time you hold that child, somebody could also sue you and say you are detaining a child. You're holding a child hostage. And the moment the matter is taken to court for holding somebody hostage, the penalty when they begin to read it in our criminal code concept and all of that. But you are actually doing the right thing. So now, you can see that some of the provisions will raise an eyebrow to how can a child now be part of protests? When the same child right is saying that even a child too should not be used for other responsibilities like they would call it child abuse and all of that. A child should not be given to marriage. That child right actually is stipulated. If you go to the section 51, 27, 31 of it, I can't really phantom it. That is what he said. You understand? But how come a child was found in protests? The protest wasn't meant for children. So who are those responsible for using the children as a shield? As we are here now, maybe somebody of 15 years old now go to buy fuel and come to, God forbid, an institution like this, organization like this, and then try to, set the place ablaze, you will not say because he's a child, you won't do anything. You will just allow him to go. You will hold that person responsible, hold him responsible, liable, and then see how you can inform the law enforcement agencies
in essence,
so that the parents could come and get him out of the place.
In essence, because these kids were used, I'm sorry, these children in question were used as an upfront for this protest, thinking they will not be arrested.
That is an assumption. Okay. That is an assumption.
Okay, I'm not saying it's certain.
Okay. Because if you look at the argument from the government and some other people speaking for the government, in the government side and even the police and all of that, you discover that the government is actually, seeing beyond the children. There is something that is beating the drum for the children. And then if you look at it very well, there are also those coming out to talk for the children, protecting their interest, which is okay. You understand? Because we run a state that is made of law, which is a constitutional democracy and all of that.
So you're saying that these children did not come out at will to make this protest? Someone actually orchestrated it?
Like I would say again, it is not actually my position that they didn't come out for the protest because of the hunger protests. They came out. But the assumption is, it is not really that they want to come out for this hunger protest. I read it from what a child should have as a responsibility between a period and time and space. When people are going for protests, as a child, why should a child be part of protest? Does a child provide for himself? Okay, because from the definition of what a child is, the predicate speaks that a child is somebody that is being provided for by his parents.
We get the definition of a child and the position of the constitution, like you have said. But we're trying to get your points. So can you hit it already? What exactly are you trying to say with your explanation?
What I'm trying to say in essence is that it shouldn't have happened. Like I want to agree with even those who are protecting the child and even those who are also saying that there is more to it than the children even just protesting. So
let's look at, okay, let's take it from, so that we can get you very well.
Yeah.
Let's take it from what the IGP has said concerning the fact that minors were not arrested for protesting. The people who were arrested as criminals because of what they saw them doing, and he went on to mention the activities,
the assets, and all of that.
That's what he went on to mention. So it's your comment on that I want to
now you discover that anything that concerns law, there is nothing like ignorance that I do not know. It's not an excuse. If you are a child and you are seen committing a crime which is actually premised in the constitution, the law will go after you before we begin to discover whether you are an adult or a child.
Right,
that is what happened in this case.
Susie. That's what I wanted to get right. At this point, we will take some time off, a very short break, and after that, the show will definitely continue. Stay with us on ATN. Thank you so much for staying right here with us. We are back to continue the conversation. Chidima.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State on Monday admitted that Nigerians are experiencing social and economic difficulties, assuring that the situation will soon change. While Tinubu insisted that his government was on the right track, he urged that solutions to complex problems could never be as instant as coffee. Meanwhile, Sanwo-Olu, who called for prayers, described the current leadership as tough men working to get Nigerians through difficult times. Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, spoke on the 70th birthday of the 7th overseer of Citadel Global Community, Pastor Tunde Bakare, organized by the Citadel Global Community in Lagos. Those present included former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. He was represented by the evangelist Austin Keme, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Dr. Bafemi Hamzat, former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Osaba, former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Obong Atta. The former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, was also present. The former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, was present. Dr. Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Kaduna State, and former governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibukulu Omoshun, on the Olu of Warri, Ogaime Otuwase III, was represented by Owa Olushan of Warri, Chief Bennett Brown. Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, was represented by Asoya of Isoya Ife. All this were present for the 70th birthday, and the president made a speech. In his speech, he said he acknowledged that times are hard, but at the end of it all, there is always light, and solutions to complex problems can never be as instant as coffee. These were the words of the president, but he said that we are on the right track. Mr. Suzy, what do you have to say, or what do you think about the words of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
I think, well, like he said, I want to take his word that we are on the right track. The social contract theory at least envisaged that policies should be made, and policies are made for people. And then when you make those policies, the policies are meant to be evaluated and re-evaluated. And the evaluation and re-evaluation of policies are the reaction from the people that you make the policy for, because the policy is for the consumption of the people. For the people's consumption, I mean to say, the plans and achievements targeted at needs assessment within the society. That is where the crux of the policy. So I think he's putting out this particular information because of the outcry from Nigerians, and that is how it ought to be. Now, giving hope that we are on the right track, what are the possibilities? What are the measures put in place? Could it be that the government is putting things in place, or could it be that they have put some measures in place?
Are they?
From
your analysis, would you say that they are?
It is government. On my own angle, I don't want to say that they are not making efforts. That there is no government that is so expressed to even in US today that we talk about, even in Russia, the Russian citizens still complain that the economic policy and some of the policy made by their president, apart from the war between them and Ukraine. Even in US, people will still complain. Even now that Trump has got, I remember this morning I was listening and reading the news, they say somebody committed suicide. There are some of the policies that are going to be, like I said before, even the situation we find ourselves today in Nigeria, that some people are complaining, all right? There are those who still see this present administration as a safe haven.
Okay, so quickly, let me cut you there. Sorry,
okay.
Susie, let me cut you there. Quickly, since you have mentioned policies of government and all of that, that's where we are going to now.
Okay.
The policies of this administration. Time and time again, the president has told us that we'll get there after a while. We might experience what we're experiencing now. It's okay because there's light at the end of the tunnel and all of that. So do you also see that these policies, from the removal of fuel subsidy and the other policies, yes, do you see them yielding, profitable results in the long run? Like
from the instance of that removal of the fuel subsidy, was that particular decision made in bad faith or in good faith? If it is made in bad faith, that is by the way. But if it's made in good faith, it has been an outcry over time that fuel subsidy should be removed. You understand? Why the man is making the decision? What are the phenomenons? What are the contradictions that follows his decisions, choice of decisions, and all of that? I want to also say that even if you want to agree, or maybe agree with speculations that the policies are either right or wrong, now I want to also say that I want to blame us too as a people, because in the where we call Sena clans, like we usually such adjectives, Sena clans, you discover that it is not only even the government alone that have the responsibility to actually employ the people or give succor to life as far as it's concerned. In Sena clans, discover that it is industries by individuals. So the number of persons you mentioned today that follow to that particular citadel happy birthday, you discover these people have held offices in Nigeria today. Show me, even if they have, where they have their own industry that will consume the population in their various states. But these are men who have chunks of money in their account, foreign accounts. You understand? Embodying the economic values or quadrants of other international communities and other countries. But Nigeria today, because of the bad politics and the kind of mindset we have, people want to take money. You don't know how much Nigeria makes every day.
So, in essence...
So we have a responsibility. The leaders that follow the president to attend this thing have a responsibility to even aid the government to achieving whatever. But instead of that, we'll be dragging the government, whether it is state or local government, we drag them back. Sort of pushing them to achieve. We drag them back because of the intention for contesting election next time.
So
because we feel that if this government is bad today.
The situation of the country right now, even in as much as we are complaining, it is also to the benefit of others.
Some persons
that are in politics or in positions right now.
It's all. I said all round. There are those who are benefiting from it. I don't want to blame the government all alone, whether it is state.
So you're saying that the president does not or does not feel the pressure of the people, and then he is not making moves.
Why not? Why not? He's feeling that's the reason why you see this particular position taken by him, because he's trying to encourage you and I to have hope in the government while they are pushing out their policies and all of that. You understand? Because even if you go, like now, there are some institutions around here. I have seen, like yesterday, I was going around the community that I saw the massive lightning in some of the communities within Niger Delta from the NDDC angle. You understand? They have a responsibility, which is a parastatal set up by the federal government to ameliorate the sufferings of the Niger Delta people. I saw that. I also followed in a particular trend where a community that they don't have water, Soku, where the mount people need these things.
So why do you think this particular set of people that are benefiting from it, why do you think they do not want to come out and join the force and make sure that the country actually strives to get better?
That is the people that I'm looking at it from the facts, like I'm investigating some of them. If actually, like I have a farm, and in that farm I employ 2 people. Today now we are in Atlantic TV. You understand? You are being absorbed here to work in this place. So if we have people who are like, I talked about the issue in US, that we have over 132 refineries by private sectors and all of that. So what I'm trying to say in essence that it is not only the responsibility of the government to employ everybody.
So it's an individual
responsibility. So people should also aid the government and not making pitchy hole and saying that the government is not doing this. And when the president talks, they say
it's more like we should not wait for the president to really get
people should help him too.
There are other people that should support him while he's working towards it.
Talking about what the people need, right? Earlier this year, we were talking about the minimum wage and all of, not earlier this year, some months ago, we were talking about the minimum wage. Well, we have reports that NLC has issued December 1 as an ultimatum to governors. The Nigeria Labour Congress has given state governors an ultimatum of December 1, 2024 to implement the new minimum wage. It also accused fuel marketers of inflating petrol prices, claiming the pump price is significantly higher than the actual market value. The LNC contended that Nigerians were being exploited, with citizens enduring heightened suffering and hunger due to government policies which keep pushing many into destitution. In a communique that was released on Sunday following its National Executive Council meeting, the NLC highlighted the severe economic hardship across the country and called for an urgent review of policies it described as anti-people. The NLC further directed state councils where the minimum wage is not yet implemented to commence an indefinite strike starting December 1. This is another strike in protest against the unaddressed labor issues. And in July 2024, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved this increase, which we know and we are aware of what it was and what it is now. But the question is, why do we still have governors who have not implemented this?
Well, the issue of minimum wage in Nigeria, myself, I'm even tired.
Why are you tired?
I'm tired because if a federal government would dish out instruction and also come up with initiative like this, you still see some of the governors dilly-dallying. I think they say Lagos have started paying over time and even increased their own to 80,000 naira. Rivers State government also come up with other 85% for whether it has been implemented and all of that. Different states with the increase and all of that.
But the issue is some of them, even the states that increase, some of them have not started
paying. They've not started paying. So that's what I'm saying.
Do you remember some governors also said that they cannot pay that amount?
And so if you look at the calculation, discover that there are states that are viable, that we can say Rivers State, we can say Lagos State, we can say maybe place like Bayelsa, maybe Delta and all of that. Some other place like Kano State and all of that. There are states that they say it's viable that can pay that minimum wage. But whatever it is, it has to cut across every phase, every state, because it is coming from the federal government. Because if you look at what they are collecting now from the federal allocation, I don't know what is the workforce in some of the states, but at least in Rivers State that we are here now, maybe the governor have not started paying, which for a fact, because I listened to the NSC chairman in Rivers State yesterday, he was even exonerating the government from he should pay for the state workers and is not going to absorb the local government workers. So to what extent? If the federal government is saying pay civil servants, are the local government people not part of the civil servants? So why now alienating them from it? So you see the speculations. So if the labor is coming up, and I still listening to the chairman this morning talking about how Rivers State is not part of it. But the same Rivers State now from fact has not started paying the minimum wage. So if you're asking other states to protest against the governor that have refused, and an assumption you believe that the government of Rivers State will pay, not that he has started paying.
They have said that
they will pay.
They have told their members in states where the government has not started paying that by December 1 they should protest.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not separating states.
States,
It is general.
So it is general.
If the governor in your
no,
state
I'm talking about what the NLC.
I'm going back to the same NLC statement. If the governor in your state has not started paying by December 1, go on a protest or go on strike in protest of the NLC demands not being met.
The states, let me tell you how, that is how state, mostly in River State, how they pay their salaries. They don't pay state and local government the same time. The local government civil service in River State, from experience, collect their salary second week of every new month. So if you're asking the states to either protest or not protest because of inaction, take inaction in that particular premise, it is possible that the state, it is always possible that the local government will collect their salary on the second week, and possibly maybe the government will pay. So if they start protesting on that first, is it not going to contradict the fact that the government have in mind to pay?
Well, this bill was been implemented. Like the president has given all state governments the go ahead to pay this wages since July,
and they are giving them allocation according to, you understand? Because the removal of the minimum wage, the fuel subsidy, actually has added more value to the kind of money that is allocated to different states. I don't want to start mentioning names, but let's just keep it at this level where, let it not be that I'm concentrated on my own states. You understand? But let it be that it should be known that even the removal of fuel subsidy has increased the revenue allocation from the federal to some of the states. So if the states are not
the governments have gotten, all the governments in Nigeria, they've all gotten their state allocations according to what you're saying, right? And then, but there are hindrances to paying this minimum wage.
They know their calculation to why some of the states, like you said, some of the states are not viable to pay. I don't know what it is that they mean, not viable and viable. Viabilities of the state.
I thought you knew when you were saying that some states cannot. And I was looking at you like, what are you saying? Because the state governors that said that they cannot make this payment because they can't afford it. You look at their cost of governance. You go down to other things. But when it has to do with paying workers, that's when the governor will come out and say, we can't afford. We can't afford how much?
That same thing. That's why I asked this question. Because they've had states allocations for this provision of this minimum wage, yes. So why would there be reasons for not paying this minimum wage? Because every state in the country has allocation. Every government have gotten it. Okay, this is it. Since the increase has been made, this is it. So does that mean that
one of your governors said, was argued, and even I think, if I'm not mistaken, even kind of proposed going to court to challenge the decisions for that minimum wage. I think it's one of the governors over there.
Another thing we must almost
Which
also
governor?
Take note
I think who is that? I think it was what's the governor that is it Anambra State? Not Anambra State. The former central bank.
Okay, so one of the things that we must also take note of with this minimum wage is that before this current increase, there are some governors that have not even started paying the 30,000 naira. After it was increased over 5 years ago, they've not still started paying the 30. So some governors were still on 18,000 naira, and then you tell them to pay 70,000 naira, and then they say they can't pay.
You are dragging them.
What? The question is, what was done when the directive was made, that the increase was made by the federal government, and these governors have not been paying it for as long as 5 years?
Thank you very much.
What exactly happened? What was done?
I think nothing was done, because we are going to end up
they're repeating it.
You know, you just reminded me of something. When you talk about 18,000, from 18,000 to 30,000 naira, and some people have not implemented it. Some governors have not implemented it. Now you're talking about 70,000 naira. And some people have also lifted it from the 70,000 to 85,000 to 80,000 naira. So it looks like a competition. And I see that, I see those increments, like people trying to gag people. You know, in Nigeria, I see there is one gimmick that we do because of this, the intention for political, whatever it is, abracadabra. The politician knows how to, they know the mind game and how to play it with the people. You understand? Even though it's not going to be sustainable, but for the fact that they have pronounced that I'm going to pay you this amount of money, You have not paid before, but just pay it one day.
Okay, quick one.
You
Mr.
discover
Sudi.
that.
Do you think that this NLC anticipated strike will call the government into the attention of listening to them?
I don't believe in any threat given by NLC. When the labor movement started, as at the time of socialism, people like Karl Marx, we saw when labor speaks, you will see the government and industries running around.
All right.
But today,
All right. So